25 things you should never pack in checked luggage. Imagine this. You've just spent 10 exhausting hours on an international flight. You're tired, hungry, and already dreaming about checking into your hotel. You walk into the baggage claim area. One suitcase after another rolls onto the conveyor belt. People smile as they grab their luggage and head toward the exit. But your suitcase never appears. You wait another 10 minutes, then 20. Eventually, the conveyor belt stops moving. Everyone leaves. You're standing there alone. Now imagine that everything important for your trip was inside that missing suitcase. Your passport, your medication, your laptop, your expensive camera, your wallet, maybe even your house keys. Suddenly, what should have been the beginning of an amazing vacation has turned into a stressful nightmare. Unfortunately, this happens more often than many travelers realize. Every year, airlines handle billions of checked bags. Most arrive safely, but some are delayed, some are damaged, and a small number simply disappear. Even when airlines eventually recover lost luggage, waiting a day or even just a few hours can completely change your trip. That's why experienced travelers follow one simple rule. Never put anything in your checked bag that you can't afford to lose, damage, or live without. Today, we're counting down 25 things you should never pack in checked luggage. Some of these mistakes only cost a few dollars. Others can cost thousands. And one item near the end surprises almost everyone because millions of travelers still pack it incorrectly every single day. Let's begin with something that seems completely harmless. Number 25. Your house keys. At first, this probably doesn't sound like a big deal. After all, they're just keys. Many people empty their pockets before traveling and toss everything into their checked suitcase without thinking twice. But imagine your luggage never arrives. Now, your house keys are somewhere between two airports. That becomes a problem the moment you return home. Even worse, many travelers unknowingly create an even bigger security risk. Think about everything that might already be inside your suitcase. A luggage tag, a printed itinerary, a document with your home address. If someone with bad intentions can connect your suitcase to your address and they also have your house keys, you've just made their job much easier. Is it likely? Probably not. But travel safety isn't about expecting the worst. It's about avoiding unnecessary risks. Fortunately, the solution couldn't be simpler. Keep your house keys in your pocket, your personal bag, or your carry-on. It takes up almost no space and removes one more thing you'll never have to worry about if your luggage is delayed. And speaking of expensive things you definitely don't want to lose, the next item could disappear forever, and airline compensation probably won't even come close to covering it. Number 24. Expensive jewelry. A diamond ring, a luxury watch, gold bracelets, designer necklaces. These aren't just beautiful accessories. They're some of the highest value items people travel with. Unfortunately, checked luggage is one of the worst places to keep them. Many travelers imagine their suitcase being carefully placed onto the airplane. The reality is very different. Your luggage may travel through multiple conveyor belts, be stacked beneath dozens of heavy suitcases, loaded onto trucks, moved between connecting flights, dropped, lifted, and handled by countless different people before it reaches you. Even if nobody steals anything, delicate jewelry can still become scratched, bent, or broken. And if it does disappear, most airlines have limits on compensation for valuable items. That expensive engagement ring or family heirloom may only be reimbursed for a small fraction of its true value if it's covered at all. If you're traveling with valuable jewelry, the safest place is usually on you or inside your carry-on. Better yet, ask yourself an important question before your trip. Do you really need to bring it? Sometimes the safest jewelry is the one you leave safely at home. Now, if losing jewelry sounds frustrating, imagine arriving in another country without something far more important, something your health may actually depend on. Number 23. Prescription medication. This is one mistake that can ruin an entire vacation before it even begins. Imagine landing overseas. Your luggage doesn't. The airline tells you it should arrive tomorrow, or maybe the day after. But your medication isn't something you can simply wait for. Many prescription medicines aren't easy to replace abroad. Different countries have different laws. Some medications require local prescriptions. Others aren't available at all, even if you manage to find a doctor. Language barriers, insurance requirements, and unfamiliar healthcare systems can turn a simple problem into a very stressful experience. That's why travel experts almost universally recommend carrying all prescription medication in your carry-on. Even better, pack enough medicine for a few extra days. Flights get canceled. Weather causes delays. Unexpected things happen. A small emergency supply can make a huge difference. It's also a smart idea to keep medication in its original labeled container whenever possible. That makes it much easier to answer questions from customs or airport security if necessary. When it comes to your health, convenience should never come before preparation. And while medication protects your body, the next item protects something many people depend on every single day: their work, memories, and digital life. Number 22. Your laptop. Think about everything stored on your laptop: work projects, family photos, financial records, travel plans, videos, years of personal memories. Now imagine all of that disappearing with one missing suitcase. Laptops are expensive, they're fragile, and despite modern protective cases, they simply aren't designed for the rough treatment checked luggage often receives. Every impact during loading sends force through the computer. A hard enough drop can crack the screen, damage the hard drive, or create internal problems that don't even become noticeable until days later. Even if your laptop survives physically, there's another problem. If your bag goes missing, you may suddenly lose access to everything you need for work, or even your entire vacation. Boarding passes, reservations, travel documents, photos you've already taken. Many travelers also forget that airports often require laptops to be removed during security screening. That alone makes carrying them in your cabin bag much more practical. Whenever possible, keep laptops, tablets, and other expensive electronics with you. They're safer, easier to access, and far less likely to suffer damage. But laptops aren't the only expensive electronics travelers should worry about. The next item is even more delicate, and replacing it during a trip can cost more than the vacation itself. Number 21. Camera equipment. Whether you're using a professional DSLR or a mirrorless camera, photography equipment is one of the biggest investments many travelers carry. A single lens can easily cost over $1,000. Some professional lenses cost several times that. And unlike clothing, camera gear doesn't respond well to impacts. A suitcase doesn't need to be crushed to cause damage. One unexpected drop, one heavy suitcase landing on top, one sharp impact during loading. That's sometimes all it takes to knock delicate lens elements out of alignment. The frustrating part? The damage isn't always obvious. Your camera might still turn on. The lens might still zoom. But later, you discover your photos are no longer perfectly sharp, or autofocus doesn't work correctly. Professional photographers know this risk well. That's why you'll often see them carrying camera backpacks onto the aircraft instead of checking expensive equipment. Another advantage? Your camera is immediately available the moment you land. Sometimes, the best photos happen before you even reach your hotel. If photography is an important part of your trip, keep your equipment where you can protect it, because replacing expensive camera gear in another country is rarely easy and never cheap. Now, here's something that surprises millions of travelers every single year. It's an item almost everyone owns. Most people assume it belongs inside a suitcase. In reality, many airlines specifically say it doesn't. Number 20, portable chargers, power banks. Power banks have become one of the most common travel accessories in the world. They keep our phones alive during long flights. Recharge tablets, power, wireless, headphones, and save us from hunting for airport charging outlets. But inside, every power bank is something airlines take very seriously. A lithium battery. While lithium batteries are generally very safe, damaged batteries can occasionally overheat. If that happens inside an aircraft's cargo hold, it's much more difficult for the flight crew to respond than if the battery is inside the passenger cabin. That's why most airlines require spare lithium batteries and power banks to travel in your carry-on, not in checked luggage. Many travelers only discover this rule after airport security opens their suitcase and removes the battery or asks them to repack everything at the check-in counter. It's a simple mistake that can delay your trip before it even begins. Before every flight, take 30 seconds to check where your battery-powered devices belong. Airline rules can vary slightly depending on battery size, but the general principle is the same. Spare lithium batteries belong in your carry-on, not your checked bag. We've only reached number 20, and some of the biggest mistakes are still ahead. Coming up, the one document that thousands of travelers accidentally pack away every year. The everyday item that could leave you completely broke the moment you land. And one simple packing rule that ties this entire countdown together and could save your next vacation from turning into a travel disaster. Let's keep going. Number 19, your passport. It may sound impossible, but every year, thousands of travelers accidentally lock their passport inside a checked suitcase. How does it happen? Usually, it's during the last few minutes before leaving home. People empty their pockets. They zip everything into one large suitcase. Then they head straight to the airport. Everything seems perfectly normal until they reach passport control. The immigration officer asks for their passport. They reach into their pocket. Nothing. Into their backpack. Still nothing. Then it hits them. Their passport is already inside a cargo hold of the airplane. Unfortunately, by that point, it's far too late. Once your checked luggage disappears behind the conveyor belt, retrieving it is almost impossible before departure. Without your passport, international travel stops immediately. You can't clear immigration. You can't board another international flight. You may even have difficulty checking into certain hotels or proving your identity if something goes wrong. The good news? This mistake is incredibly easy to prevent. Before handing over your checked luggage, pause for just 5 seconds. Touch 3 things: passport, phone, wallet. Many experienced travelers make this a ritual before every flight. Those 5 seconds can save hours or even days of stress. But if losing your passport sounds bad, imagine arriving with no money at all. That's exactly what happens when travelers make our next mistake. Number 18, cash. Here's one travel rule that almost every experienced traveler agrees on. Never pack large amounts of cash inside checked luggage. It might seem convenient. After all, your wallet feels bulky. Your suitcase has plenty of room. But convenience disappears the moment something unexpected happens. Imagine landing in a new country. Your suitcase is delayed. Now your emergency cash is somewhere between airports. How do you pay for transportation? Food? A hotel? A SIM card? Even if your bag eventually arrives later that day, those first few hours can become surprisingly stressful. The risk becomes even greater if your suitcase is lost or stolen. Unlike electronics or clothing, cash is almost impossible to prove. If you tell an airline there was $1,000 inside your luggage, how can anyone verify that amount? In most cases, they can't. That's why airline compensation rarely covers cash that disappears. Instead, keep your money where it belongs with you. Many smart travelers divide their emergency funds into several places. Some cash stays in a wallet, some in a hidden money belt. Maybe another credit card stays safely inside a different pocket. That way, one problem doesn't become a complete financial disaster. Because, speaking of wallets, some people accidentally check something even more important. Number 17, your wallet. It sounds unbelievable, but it happens surprisingly often. Some travelers empty their pockets while checking in. They place everything into their suitcase, wallet included. A few minutes later, they're standing at airport security with nothing. No identification, no credit cards, no driver's license, no cash, no boarding pass if it's stored inside the wallet. Everything they need is now traveling somewhere they can't reach. Even if your flight goes perfectly, unexpected situations happen all the time. Maybe your flight is delayed. Maybe you need dinner during a long layover. Maybe your connecting flight changes. Maybe you need to pay for transportation after landing. Without your wallet, even small problems become major inconveniences. Imagine arriving at your destination only to discover your checked luggage didn't. Now your identification, payment cards, and emergency cash are all missing at the exact moment you need them most. That's a situation nobody wants. The safest place for your wallet is exactly where you normally keep it, on you, from the moment you leave home until the moment you return. And while your wallet is difficult to replace, the next group of items can take even longer, sometimes days, sometimes weeks. Number 16, important travel documents. Today, almost everything feels digital. Hotel reservations, boarding passes, rental car confirmations, travel insurance, cruise tickets. Many travelers assume they'll simply download everything whenever they need it. Most of the time, that works perfectly, but not always. Imagine landing in another country. Your phone battery dies. The airport Wi-Fi doesn't work. Your mobile data hasn't activated yet. Suddenly, you can't access your hotel reservation, or your travel insurance, or your rental agreement. Some countries still ask for printed visa documents. Some hotels request physical confirmation numbers. Some rental companies want paperwork before handing over a vehicle. If those documents are sitting inside a delayed suitcase, checking in becomes much more complicated than it should be. The solution doesn't require carrying stacks of paper. Simply keep the documents you'll need immediately inside your carry-on. Better yet, save digital copies on your phone, in cloud storage, and even offline if possible. Preparation like this takes only a few minutes before your trip, but it can save hours of frustration later. Now here's another item many people never think twice about until they're stranded in an airport parking lot. Number 15, car keys. Picture this. You finally return home after an incredible vacation. Your plane lands. You collect your backpack. Then you walk toward airport parking. You reach your car, and suddenly you remember. Your car keys are inside your checked suitcase, the same suitcase that never arrived. Now your vacation isn't over yet. You're stuck. Your luggage is delayed. Your car is sitting right in front of you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. Instead of driving home, you're suddenly calling a taxi. or paying for another night at a hotel, or contacting a locksmith, all because of one small packing mistake. This situation is surprisingly common among travelers who leave home in a hurry. They throw everything into one large suitcase, assuming they'll sort it out after arriving. Experienced travelers do the opposite. Anything they'll need immediately after landing stays with them. That includes house keys, car keys, garage remotes, anything required to continue the journey. Keeping your keys in your carry-on takes almost no effort. But if your luggage is delayed, you'll be incredibly glad you did. We've officially reached the halfway point of our countdown, but the biggest surprises are still coming. Next up, the device most people can't live without for even 1 hour. The tiny storage card that could contain years of priceless memories. And one everyday travel item parents should never, ever pack in checked luggage. Let's continue. Number 14, your smartphone. Think about the last time you traveled. How many times did you use your phone? Probably more than you can count. It isn't just a phone anymore. It's your boarding pass, your map, your translator, your hotel reservation, your airline app, your banking app, your camera, your emergency contact. And for many people, it's the only way to communicate with family back home. Now imagine accidentally packing it inside your checked suitcase. Everything feels fine while you're checking in. Then airport security asks to see your mobile boarding pass. Your phone is already heading toward the cargo hold. Not exactly ideal. Even after you land, the problems continue. How do you call a ride? How do you navigate to your hotel? How do you contact your travel companions if you get separated? How do you receive airline notifications if your connecting flight changes? On top of that, smartphones contain lithium batteries, which airlines generally recommend keeping in the cabin rather than in checked baggage. A phone belongs in your pocket, your purse, or your carry-on, not buried underneath a week's worth of clothing. Experienced travelers know that the first thing they need after landing isn't their suitcase. It's their phone. And while your phone stores plenty of memories, the next item may contain memories that can never be recreated. Number 13, external hard drives and memory cards. Here's something many travelers don't think about. The smallest items in your luggage can sometimes be the most valuable. A tiny SD card, a portable SSD, an external hard drive. They're small enough to fit in your hand. Yet, they may contain years of your life. Family vacations, wedding photos, videos of your children growing up, important work projects, documents that exist nowhere else. If your checked suitcase disappears, those memories could disappear with it. Even if your luggage eventually arrives, rough baggage handling isn't ideal for storage devices. A heavy impact can damage an external hard drive without leaving obvious marks on the outside. You may not notice the problem until you try to access your files, and by then, it may already be too late. The smartest travelers follow a simple routine. Keep storage devices in your carry-on. Back up important files before leaving home. Whenever possible, upload your photos to cloud storage during your trip. Technology makes replacing hardware easy. Replacing lost memories? That's impossible. Speaking of things you can't replace, parents know exactly how stressful the next mistake can become. Number 12, baby essentials. Traveling with a baby already requires careful planning. Delays make everything harder. Now imagine your checked suitcase doesn't arrive. Inside that suitcase are diapers, formula, baby wipes, medicine, extra clothes, bottles, blankets, everything your child needs. Adults can usually improvise for a few hours. Babies can't. A delayed suitcase suddenly becomes much more than an inconvenience. It becomes a race to find unfamiliar stores in an unfamiliar city while trying to keep a tired, hungry child comfortable. Experienced parents prepare for exactly this situation. They pack enough essentials in their carry-on to comfortably handle at least the first 24 hours of travel. That includes diapers, formula, baby food, medicine, an extra outfit or two. Even a favorite toy or blanket can make an enormous difference during unexpected delays. Airlines are very good at delivering luggage, but babies don't operate on airline schedules. Planning ahead keeps everyone happier. And speaking of things that can't simply be replaced, the next item has almost nothing to do with money. Its value is something much deeper. Number 11, irreplaceable keepsakes. Not everything valuable has a high price tag. Sometimes the most precious things in your suitcase are worth almost nothing financially, but emotionally, they're priceless. Maybe it's your grandmother's necklace, a handwritten letter from someone you love, an old family photograph, a wedding ring, a child's favorite stuffed animal, or a souvenir you've treasured for years. If those items disappear, airline compensation won't fix the problem. Money can replace a laptop. Money can replace clothes. Money can even replace expensive luggage. But it can't replace memories. It can't recreate history. It can't replace sentimental value. Before packing, ask yourself one simple question. If this item disappeared forever, how would I feel? If the answer is heartbreaking, don't let it leave your sight. Keep sentimental items in your personal bag whenever possible. Better yet, leave truly irreplaceable keepsakes safely at home. Travel should create wonderful memories, not painful ones. Now, let's move to something much more practical. It isn't expensive. It isn't sentimental, but forgetting it can make your very first day of vacation surprisingly miserable. Number 10, one change of clothes. This tip has nothing to do with theft. It's all about comfort. Imagine landing after an overnight international flight. You're exhausted. You finally reach your hotel. Then the airline tells you your suitcase won't arrive until tomorrow. Suddenly, the clothes you're wearing are the only clothes you have. No fresh shirt, no clean underwear, no comfortable pajamas, maybe not even a toothbrush. It doesn't sound like a disaster. But after 20 hours of travel, you'll definitely feel the difference. This is why seasoned travelers almost always pack one complete change of clothes inside their carry-on. It doesn't need to be fancy. Just enough to get through the first day comfortably if your luggage is delayed. A lightweight t-shirt, fresh underwear, socks, maybe a pair of shorts or lightweight pants, depending on your destination. It takes surprisingly little space, yet it can completely transform your first 24 hours if something unexpected happens. Think of it as inexpensive travel insurance. You'll probably never need it, but if you do, you'll be incredibly grateful it's there. Quick question for you. Before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had an airline lose or delay your luggage? If so, what was the one thing you wished you'd kept in your carry-on instead? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help another traveler avoid making the same mistake. We've officially entered the top 10, but the biggest travel mistakes are still ahead. Coming up, the souvenir that often arrives home in tiny broken pieces. The expensive gift that can disappear before you ever give it. And one simple packing rule that experienced travelers swear by, a rule that can prevent almost every mistake on this entire countdown. Number 9, fragile souvenirs. One of the best parts of traveling is bringing home something that reminds you of the places you've visited. Maybe it's a hand-painted ceramic bowl from Italy, a delicate glass ornament from Prague, a handcrafted wooden sculpture from Bali, or a beautiful bottle of locally made perfume. After carefully choosing the perfect souvenir, many travelers wrap it in a t-shirt, place it inside their suitcase, and hope for the best. Unfortunately, hope isn't much protection inside an airport baggage system. Checked luggage goes through an incredible journey before it reaches your destination. Suitcases are loaded onto conveyor belts, dropped into baggage carts, stacked beneath heavier bags, moved between aircraft, and sometimes handled much more roughly than most travelers ever imagine. Your suitcase might survive just fine, but that fragile souvenir inside? Not always. Many travelers have experienced the disappointment of opening their luggage only to discover shattered glass, cracked ceramics, or broken artwork scattered among their clothes. If an item is truly fragile, ask yourself whether it really belongs in checked luggage. Whenever possible, carry it with you. If it's too large or too delicate, consider having it professionally packed and shipped home. It may cost a little more, but it's usually far cheaper than replacing a one-of-a-kind souvenir. And speaking of expensive purchases, the next mistake often ruins birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays. Number 8, expensive gifts. Imagine you've found the perfect gift. Maybe it's a luxury watch, a designer handbag, a beautiful piece of jewelry, or an exclusive collector's item you searched for during your entire trip. You carefully place it inside your checked suitcase because it feels safer than carrying another bag. Then your luggage never arrives. Now the birthday present is gone. The anniversary surprise has disappeared. Or the holiday gift you've spent weeks choosing is sitting somewhere in an airport warehouse. High-value gifts are attractive targets for theft because they're usually brand new and easy to resell. Even if theft isn't involved, airline compensation often has limits that don't reflect the true value of luxury items. Replacing an expensive gift isn't always possible either. Some purchases are unique, others are limited editions, and some simply can't be found again before the special occasion arrives. If a gift is valuable, sentimental, or impossible to replace, keep it with you throughout the journey. A little extra effort during the flight is worth avoiding a huge disappointment later. Now let's talk about something travelers love bringing home from vacations. The problem isn't airport security. It's simple physics. Number 7, glass bottles, wine, olive oil, perfume, local honey, hot sauce, craft spirits. Travelers bring home bottled products from almost every destination in the world. The challenge isn't getting them through airport security. It's getting them home in one piece. Inside the cargo hold, luggage experiences constant movement. Heavy suitcases press against lighter ones. Bags shift during loading and unloading. Even small impacts can create enough pressure to crack glass. Sometimes the bottle doesn't completely break. Instead, the cap loosens just enough to leak. When you finally open your suitcase, your clothes smell like perfume. Your souvenirs are covered in olive oil, or everything inside is stained with sticky liquid. Fortunately, protecting bottles is much easier today than it used to be. Protective bottle sleeves, inflatable travel protectors, bubble wrap, heavy-duty zip-top bags. These simple tools can dramatically reduce the risk of damage. Better still, if you're carrying something particularly valuable, consider shipping it separately. A few dollars spent on proper protection can save hundreds of dollars in damaged belongings. Now, our next item isn't expensive at all, but for business travelers, losing it can create serious problems. Number 6, business documents. For many people, travel isn't just about vacations. It's about work. Maybe you're flying to meet a client, attend a conference, sign an important contract, or deliver a presentation that has taken weeks to prepare. Now imagine your checked suitcase doesn't arrive. Inside it are printed contracts, presentation materials, legal paperwork, signed documents, original certificates, everything you need for tomorrow morning's meeting. Yes, many documents are digital today, but not everything can be replaced with a PDF. Some papers require original signatures. Others contain confidential information that shouldn't be sent electronically. Replacing them while traveling may be impossible. Business travelers often follow a simple rule. If a document is essential to tomorrow's schedule, it never leaves their side. Slim document organizers fit easily inside a backpack or laptop bag. Keeping important paperwork in your carry-on gives you immediate access whenever you need it. Because sometimes the most valuable thing you're carrying isn't expensive at all. It's an opportunity. And now we've reached the top 5. From this point forward, every item follows one important theme. These aren't luxury items. They're the everyday essentials that people don't realize they'll need immediately after landing. Number 5. Everyday essentials you'll need right away. Here's a simple question. If your suitcase didn't arrive until tomorrow, what would you need during the first 24 hours? Most people immediately think about clothes, but that's only the beginning. What about your toothbrush, your phone charger, prescription glasses, contact lenses, a lightweight jacket if the weather suddenly changes, basic toiletries, lip balm, a reusable water bottle? None of these things seem particularly important while you're packing. But the moment your luggage is delayed, they suddenly become incredibly valuable. Picture yourself arriving late at night in a city you've never visited before. Most stores are already closed. Your hotel has a toothbrush, but no phone charger. You need contact lens solution. Your glasses are inside your missing suitcase. Your phone battery is almost dead. Small inconveniences quickly add up. That's why experienced travelers prepare a simple emergency kit inside their carry-on. It doesn't need to be large. A toothbrush, travel-sized toothpaste, a charging cable, basic toiletries. Any daily essentials you absolutely rely on. Think of it this way. Smart travelers don't pack for perfect trips. They pack for unexpected situations. And that's exactly what makes traveling feel less stressful. Next, you'll discover the simple question every experienced traveler asks before packing any suitcase. We'll also cover an item that airlines pay special attention to because of safety concerns. And finally, the one golden rule that can prevent nearly every travel mistake we've talked about today. Let's finish the countdown. Number 4, anything you can't afford to lose. We've covered passports, laptops, medication, jewelry, cameras, and plenty of other specific items. But experienced travelers don't memorize long packing lists. Instead, they follow one incredibly simple rule. Before placing anything inside a checked suitcase, ask yourself one question. If this suitcase disappeared forever, could I replace this item? Take a moment and really think about it. Could you replace your wedding ring, your work laptop, your passport, family photos, prescription medication, your favorite camera, important legal documents? If the answer is no, then that item probably doesn't belong in checked luggage. This single habit can eliminate almost every mistake we've discussed today. Think of your checked suitcase as storage for things that are convenient, not essential. Extra clothes? Perfect. Shoes? Absolutely. Toiletries that can easily be replaced? No problem. But anything valuable, irreplaceable, or immediately necessary should stay with you. Professional travelers often say something similar. Pack your checked bag as though you might not see it for the next 24 hours. If you're comfortable with that thought, you've probably packed wisely. Now let's move on to an item many travelers intentionally hide in checked luggage, even though airlines strongly recommend against it. Number 3. Spare lithium batteries. Earlier, we talked about power banks, but spare lithium batteries deserve their own place on this list because they're one of the most misunderstood travel items. Many cameras use removable batteries. So do drones, flashlights, action cameras, professional video equipment, and dozens of other electronic devices. Some travelers assume placing spare batteries inside checked luggage is the safest option. In reality, it's usually the opposite. Lithium batteries store a surprising amount of energy in a very small space. If they're damaged, crushed, or short-circuited, they can overheat. Although incidents are rare, airlines take this risk very seriously. Inside the passenger cabin, flight attendants can quickly respond if a battery overheats. Inside a cargo hold, that's much more difficult. That's why most airlines require spare lithium batteries to travel in your carry-on baggage. To reduce the risk even further, battery terminals should be protected. Many people use the original plastic covers, battery cases, or simply place tape over the contacts to prevent accidental short circuits. Another important tip is to check your airline's specific battery policies before flying. Different airlines may have different limits based on battery capacity. Spending 2 minutes checking the rules online is much easier than repacking your luggage at the airport. Now let's leave physical valuables behind for a moment. The next item isn't about money. It's about protecting your identity. Number 2. Anything containing sensitive personal information. When people think about valuables, they usually picture expensive electronics or jewelry. But one of the most valuable things you own isn't something you can hold. It's your personal information. Think about everything that might contain sensitive data. External hard drives, backup USB drives, tax records, medical records, business contracts, personal financial documents, confidential client information. Even an old laptop or tablet you rarely use may still contain passwords, banking information, or years of personal emails. If your luggage is lost or stolen, replacing the hardware is relatively easy. Replacing your identity is not. Identity theft can create problems that last for months or even years. Criminals don't always need much information. Sometimes, a few documents are enough to create serious headaches. Before packing, ask yourself whether you really need to travel with sensitive files at all. If you do, keep them with you whenever possible. Better yet, use encrypted storage and secure cloud backups instead of carrying unnecessary paperwork. Protecting your information is just as important as protecting your belongings. And now, we've reached the number 1 mistake. Interestingly, it isn't a specific object. It's a way of thinking, one simple habit that can prevent almost every travel disaster we've talked about today. Number 1, anything you'll need before you reach your hotel. This is the golden rule of smart packing. If you'll need it before your suitcase reaches you, don't check it. It really is that simple. Think about the first few hours after landing. You'll probably need your passport, your phone, your wallet, your medication, a phone charger, transportation information, hotel reservations, a change of clothes if your luggage is delayed, maybe your glasses, your travel documents, perhaps your baby's essentials. Every one of those items should already be with you, not because airlines frequently lose luggage. In fact, most checked bags arrive exactly where they're supposed to. The point isn't to expect something to go wrong. The point is to make sure you're prepared if it does. Experienced travelers don't pack based on optimism. They pack based on practicality. They understand that travel includes delays, unexpected weather, missed connections, mechanical problems, occasionally delayed luggage. Preparing for those situations doesn't make you pessimistic. It makes you smart. Your checked suitcase should carry things that make your trip more comfortable. Your carry-on should carry the things that make your trip possible. Once you understand that difference, packing becomes much easier, and you'll travel with far more confidence every time you fly. Final thoughts. The truth is, most flights arrive exactly on schedule. Most suitcases arrive safely too. Millions of people check luggage every single day without experiencing any problems. But travel isn't about planning for what usually happens. It's about being ready for the unexpected. A delayed suitcase shouldn't ruin the first day of your vacation. It shouldn't prevent you from taking medication. It shouldn't stop you from checking into your hotel. It shouldn't leave you without money, identification, or a way to contact your family. Fortunately, avoiding those problems doesn't require expensive travel gear. It doesn't require special airline status. And it certainly doesn't require luck. It simply requires packing a little more thoughtfully. A few extra minutes before your trip can save you hours or even days of frustration later. The smartest travelers aren't the ones who never experience problems. They're the ones who prepare for them before they happen. So next time you're packing, remember one simple question. Will I need this before I get my checked suitcase back? If the answer is yes, keep it with you. Call to action. Now we'd love to hear from you. What's the one item you would never trust inside a checked suitcase? Have you ever had an airline lose or delay your luggage? Or maybe you've learned a packing lesson the hard way. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could help another traveler avoid making the same mistake. And if you found even one tip helpful today, take a second to hit the like button. It really helps more travelers discover these practical packing tips. If you enjoy travel hacks, airport secrets, money-saving advice, and smarter ways to travel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. And before you pack for your next trip, watch our next video, 20 airport secrets smart travelers always use. It might save you time, money, and a whole lot of stress before you even board your next flight. Thanks for watching. Safe travels, and we'll see you in the next video.